Round one, as we were just talking about the top four, it's sexy. It's great to be up there. But either way, it's crucial to get it right. It's real hard if you get a bust in round one to make it to your championship. Obviously, you're a little bit locked into where your pick position is, but do you have kind of an overall position you're targeting more often than not? And then we'll talk about some players, fades, and all that good stuff too.
I find myself, and this is really for the first 3-4 rounds, man, there does seem to be an unusual amount of potential 3-down workhorse running backs available like early in these drafts. And we're talking about Derrick freaking Henry, the big dog, being available at like 108, 109 in a lot of these drafts now. And I think too many folks are, almost again, just kind of drafting scared a little bit at the top, or just maybe I'm paying too much mind to just random Twitter commentators, because when I hear people saying, "Oh, this isn't the year, I'm not taking McCaffrey, you can't do this," bullshit, man. If you see that dude available past the first like 3 picks, I'm sure you're hitting draft in a second. But I'll just say, after as someone, and there's different strategies for redraft versus best ball, I get that, but I've done probably 50 to 60 best ball drafts at this point since the draft was over, and just generally I feel a lot better about the squads where I have at least 2 running backs through the first 4 rounds. So I think running back, wide receiver, I think Kelsey at the turn is fine. I think Mark Andrews pretty much at the round 2 turn can be okay. Kyle Pitts, if basically all your sure thing wide receivers are gone and a lot of the running backs, then all of a sudden he starts to become into play. So I do think there's the right draft spot. And again, I think around 1, which we're on right now, Travis Kelsey at the turn, I would be happy to take him there because dude, just 150 targets. I don't care if he takes a step back. Like, it's just, he's playing a different position than the other tight ends because of the huge target gulf between these guys. I mean, you look at PFF fantasy projections. I think Kelsey's at around 145 targets. Andrews is at like 136. The next closest tight end is like under 110. So it's just truly, it's, the way that rushing quarterbacks are and receiving running backs, like that's just Kelsey and Andrews just being like the undisputed number 1 pass game option, not just number 1 tight end. That's kind of like the fantasy cheat code that we have there. So overall, again, probably prioritizing running backs a little bit more than the wide receivers, particularly after I would say the big 5 in Kupp, Jefferson, Chase, Diggs, and CD. Maybe you can throw Devontae Adams in there. I'd probably throw Devontae Adams in there too. After that, they're not serious red flags, but we have guys like Tyreek, Debo switching teams, T. Higgins, who's a legit, number 2 wide receiver on his own team. So at that point in the draft, give me the Fournettes, the Saquons, Aaron Jones, DeAndre Swift, all those guys ahead of those wide receivers. So long story short, really liking the running backs, but hey, all these guys are great. There's no reason to, be a hero this early in the draft. Don't be afraid to let the value come to you, because to your point earlier, like when you get one of these first 4 draft picks, the guys that are coming around in round 2, even if it's not the exact running back you're looking for, you're still going to be dealing with a lot of good players.
Absolutely. I'm with you 100%. I've been hammering the bell cows myself. Scott Bear had a great article, that Anatomy of a League Winner. He dives into it. 12 of the last 20 quote unquote league winners, the highest advance rate type players, have been running backs, 60%, and almost all of them go in the early rounds too. It's very difficult to find those late round blow-ups. I know last year we had Connor, we had Fournette, but those seem to be more outliers. It's not very common you do. So I do typically find myself hammering the bell cows. You mentioned Jefferson, Kupp, even Chase in round 1. It's tough to pass on that. And of course, Kelsey at the turn, is him and Andrews, the gap seems to be closing, but ultimately, what if the Ravens go back to that run heavy? It seems like everything's pointing towards that. So he might be a regression candidate in target sense as well. So I think the gap's maybe even a little bit bigger. You remove Tyreek, so it might just get more targets for Kelsey, less for Andrews too, widening that gap. So he's also a guy I really like, but I'm hammering the bell cows. I try to come out of my first 2 rounds.
What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.